Hi, I'm John Keane. I'm the CEO of SolarAid, and I'm here to answer some of your questions about our 100% idea. Okay, so I moved to rural Tanzania about 25 years ago as a volunteer, and there I lived in a rural village in a house without access to electricity or running water, indeed. And I saw how different and difficult actually life was without access to electricity. But I also saw the potential for small amounts of electricity to make a huge impact. Just to charge phones, play radios, and light a household. And so that's really what sparked my interest, because I knew it was a very sunny part of the world, and I knew that solar energy was getting better and better. Prices were going down, batteries becoming more efficient, and I just saw the potential for solar energy to help transform lives in rural villages like that one in Tanzania. Okay, so over the last 25 years, I've seen a lot of change. You see many more solar panels and products available across Sub-Saharan Africa. Millions of people are now using solar lights and solar products to power their homes and communities. So that's a huge, huge change from 25 years ago. But there is one similarity, and that's the poorest people are still going without. So if you go to the poorest, most remote, hardest to reach communities, you'll still find many people living without access to electricity in the same sort of way as I saw 25 years ago. Okay, that's a tough one. Okay, so I've been in many parts of Sub-Saharan Africa, many rural communities, and a key similarity between many from West Africa to East Africa to Central Africa is the lack of electricity access and the challenges that brings. So for me, the big lesson is that small amounts of electricity can have a huge impact. And I think at SolarAid, that's really formed our approach to working. So we're a very practical organization, we're very community driven, and we look at solutions that can actually make a difference tomorrow, today. And so I'm proud of the work that we do with communities, and we really try to look at realistic interventions that can be scaled. And so that is possible, and working with rural communities across the continent, we found that there's a huge demand to make that dream a reality. Okay, so 100% is really about achieving universal access to energy. So we're proud at SolarAid that we've enabled millions of people to access electricity across Sub-Saharan Africa together with our partners. But there's still millions of people left without, and a significant proportion of the poorest, hardest to reach people are living without access. So 100% is really about focusing on achieving 100% access, measuring that to ensure that no one is actually left behind. Okay, so the key difference is, in the past, SolarAid has worked to catalyze solar markets, work with entrepreneurs who sell solar products in rural areas. The key difference here is that we're trying to reach 100% of people. So the people who haven't been reached through this market-based activity, how do we ensure that they get access to electricity too? So there's a lot more innovation focusing on the poorest people who have never been reached before. Sure. Okay, well at SolarAid we've been continuously trying to overcome barriers to access to electricity. Whether or not it was in the past we were creating solar products to then distributing solar products, and always working closely with communities to try and meet their needs. Now if you go to a rural village and you have a community meeting and you ask that community meeting, put your hand up if you want access to electricity, everyone will put their hand up. And so we basically worked with the community to discuss, well, how can we work with you to make that a reality? And so it really came from the almost obvious realization that everybody wants access. It's just we need to figure out the ways to enable that to become a reality. And so if we set 100% access as a target, then that is our measure of success, and it's the community's measure of success as well. So that's really where it came from. So Lighter Village is essentially, its key objective is to reach 100% of a given community, of a traditional authority area. That's 8,813 households. So that's quite different to what we've done in the past. In the past, we may have worked with that community to increase access to solar products, and then you might find 20, 30, even 40% of people can access those products. And that would be seen as huge success. But this was actually looking at, well, actually, this is not about trickling down and one day everyone has access. It was really, how do we ensure that everybody gets access today, and finding out how we can make that a reality. So that's the difference. And so energy as a service, which is our Lighter Village, the model we're using in Lighter Village, is really about overcoming the barriers to access and using 100% access as our metric of success. So that's how it really works with our 100% campaign. That's a difficult question. Actually, many things are needed to achieve this very difficult goal. But the first thing you need is actually to set the goal. And that's what we're doing here. 100% access means everyone. And if we're measuring success against a percentage of households reached in a given community, then that is the first job that we basically committed to. And then the difficult work then comes in building the support, the partnerships, getting the funding in order to deliver the innovative models that are needed to actually achieve that 100% goal. Okay, my dream for the 100% program is that you've got thousands of communities across the continent achieving universal access, working with partners in all parts of Sub-Saharan Africa, and actually fast-tracking progress towards achieving SDG 7. I believe it's possible, and I believe that 100% and committing to 100% is a way to achieve that. Sure, that's a really good question. Okay, first off, I would say Sub-Saharan Africa did not cause the climate crisis. Today, it's not generating the fossil fuel emissions that the rest of the world is generating, but it is suffering the consequences. So our focus has really been working on the communities who are hardest hit to build their resilience through increased access to electricity. That's our key focus. But I do recognize that obviously across Sub-Saharan Africa, there's a huge amount of solar irradiation, and there's a huge potential to have solar farms that could generate electricity, not just for the continent, but beyond. So it's a great question, but our focus has to be on improving the lives of the poorest, hardest to reach people, to improve their lives today, tomorrow, and for the years to come. That's a great question, actually. There's around 600 million people across this continent living without access to electricity. And we, as SolarAid ourselves, can't go to every single community. But what we can do is work with experienced partners across the continent. So we've already started to do that. We're working in Madagascar, we're working in Senegal, we're working in Sierra Leone, together with trusted partners who are experts with rural communities in those countries. Now, really what drives us is which communities are the hardest to reach and where they're characterized by high levels of poverty and particularly vulnerable to the climate crisis. So they're our guiding North Stars, if you will, for how we look to work in new countries. We're also a very practical organization, so we are looking for new partners who are can-do partners who we can work with, who can help fast-track progress towards our mission. And so we're very practical, and we are always receptive to partnership opportunities across the continent. The role of partnerships to SolarAid is vital to achieving our mission. So, for example, we're working with a number of NGOs in Madagascar who are experts in their rural communities, and we're partnering with them to increase access to electricity. And it's vital that we do that, because we're not necessarily an expert in a rural community in Madagascar. That's the role of a local partner who has that expertise, who we can work with. So the role of partnerships to achieve our mission across the continent is absolutely critical. That's a great question. Thanks for the question. You're absolutely right. Every electronic product has a lifespan. And so it's important that we address the challenge of ensuring that products have a second life and a third life, and continue to provide access to electricity. And so that's the importance of the repair program that we've been driving forward. Now, it's a good question. Actually, our long-term supporters will know that we actually started at SolarAid with local assembly of solar products across many countries in Africa, in Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, where I am now. And I think it is something that we can explore together with partners in the future as a potential solution to enabling products to remain operational for the long term. But we also have to recognize that many products are made in parts of China, just like many people's mobile phones who are watching this are made in China. But the important thing is that the quality is high, the price is affordable, and that actually they can have long-term access. But yes, absolutely, we're very open to exploring the possibility of local assembly, local production of solar energy solutions. We can't do that alone. It would have to be together with strong partners who we can engage with. But it's a good question. Thank you. Okay, that's a great question. I mean, the truth is, everyone working in the development sector is impacted by these cuts. No one is immune. It will reduce opportunities for support and funding to implement our work and achieve our mission. But that's why it's so important that we have support like yours. We can't do it alone, and the support that we get from the public is vital to us achieving our mission. So thank you.